Lens on Africa.
Welcome to Lens on Africa, the program that brings you closer to the heart of the continent. On this program today, we'll be bringing you vibrant cultures, dynamic tourist locations, and rich histories that make Africa unique. This week we have lined up for you a tour of the Mambila Plateau, a visit to the Luo tribe found in Kenya and Tanzania, and an exploration of the tohu fabric native to Cameroon. From learning all about delicious and easy to make African recipes, we'll dive straight into amazing conversations that touch on the issues affecting the African continent. The task set before us is easy: to show you Africa in all of its beauty. My name is Uju Ohiri Nwachiku. Welcome. We'll be starting off with African tribes. The Luo tribe, the second largest ethnic group in Kenya, is our tribe of focus today. Theirs is a culture and tradition similar to many African tribes. Take a look.
The Luo of Kenya and Tanzania are a Nilotic ethnic group native to western Kenya and the Mara region of northern Tanzania in East Africa. The Luo are the fourth largest ethnic group in Kenya, after the Kikuyu, the Luhya, and the Kalenjin. They are part of a larger group of related Luo people who inhabit an area ranging from South Sudan, southwestern Ethiopia, northern and eastern Uganda, southwestern Kenya, and northern Tanzania. They speak the Luo language, also known as Duolo, which belongs to the western Nilotic branch of the Nilotic language family. Traditionally, the Luo people were a patriarchal society with a decentralized government system. The family is headed by the father, or in absence of the father, by the first wife Mikai, or son. Many families come together through a traced relations by blood to form a clan, known as Anyola, which mostly brought together the heads of different families together as people of the same descent, referred to as Jakant Gato. Many clans come together to form a village called Gweng, which is headed by a village elder titled Dodo or Jadwang Gweng. Traditional dress of the Luo people are elaborate, which includes brightly colored fabrics, beaded jewelry, and headgear. The men wear a flowing tunic called a jalabia, while the women wear dresses and head wraps. Luo diet traditionally consists of kuon, made of sorghum or millet, accompanied by fish, meat or vegetable stews. A popular Luo meal includes fish, especially tilapia or ingegi, and umena, usually accompanied with ugali, and traditional vegetables like osuga and apples. The Luo homestead, known as Dala in the local Duolo parlance, was very complex. It was made up of a compound where the owner of the Dala and his extended family all lived. The various huts that were built in the compound had meanings and were structured so that those who entered the compound could automatically have an understanding of who the head of the homestead and the entire household were, who the first wife was, who the eldest son was, and how many wives lived in the compound, amongst other things. Among the Luo, remaining unmarried is considered inappropriate. Hence, their wedding is considered a very significant event which comprises two stages. The first of which is a year, which involves the payment of a bride price by the groom to the mother of the bride. Once the ceremony has taken place, the couple are considered to be married and the groom is at liberty to live with the bride after the ceremony. Although to complete the marriage process, the second bride price, known as Kenny, in the form of cattle, would be paid to the father of the bride at a later date. Traditionally, music was the most widely practiced art in the Luo community. At any time of day or night, music would be made. Music was not played for its own sake, it was functional, being used for ceremonial, religious, political, or incidental purposes. Music was performed during funerals, to praise the departed, to console the bereaved, to keep people awake at night, and to express pain and agony. It was also used during cleansing and chasing away of spirits. Music was equally played to welcome back the warriors from the war, during a wrestling match, during courtship, and many others. Their musical instruments ranged from drums, clappers, metal rings, gara, shakers, strings like in yatiti, a type of lyre, urutu, a type of fiddle, and a wind or thong, on, asili, and flute. Luo people have made significant contributions to modern culture and civilization. Notable among those who have made such contributions are Tom Mboya, who were key figures in the African nationalist struggle, as well as Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States of America, and a Nobel Prize winner, among many others.
Hey, that beautiful song reminds me of one wonderful day, a day that I saw the wonders in the universe. Therefore, when I sing, I want you all to join me in the song. Wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi jabo. Hey, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi jabo. Wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi jamogi. Wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi ojamogi. Eka komodo nkodi kanyo wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi jamogi. Eka komodo nkodi kanyo wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi ochamo. Eka komodo nkodi kanyo wanuwadi, wanuwadi, wanuwadi oka Yesu, wanuwadi ochamo ngima.
That was quite an interesting expose of the Luo tribe. It's now time for tourism. The Mambila Plateau in Taraba State, Nigeria, has a lot to offer the world-traveling community. I'm talking beautiful landscapes, multiple hills, mountains, and even waterfalls. And it is also, well, one of the highest points in Nigeria. Up next on Tourism segment.
Located in Taraba State, northeastern Nigeria, Mambila Plateau is one area of enormous beauty and huge tourism significance. The plateau is under the Sardauna local government area in the southeastern part of the state. The journey to Mambila Plateau starts on a snake-like road from the foot of the mountain to the top. After 25 to 30 minutes drive, then you start savoring the beauty of the plateau. There are rolling hills backdropped with exotic flora and fauna. It has a lot of scenic views to behold. While watching the mountain chain and the curvaceous valleys, you will have a breath of fresh air that is highly uncommon in many other parts of Nigeria and indeed Africa. The Mambila Plateau measures about 96 kilometers along its curved length. It is 40 kilometers wide and is bounded by an escarpment that is about 900 meters high in some places. The plateau covers an area of 9,389 square kilometers. It has an average elevation of about 1,600 meters above sea level, making it the highest plateau in Nigeria. Some of its villages are situated on hills that must be at least 1,828 meters high above sea level. Some mountains on the plateau and around it are over 2,000 meters high, like the Chabbal Wadi, which has an average height of about 2,419 meters above sea level. It is the highest mountain in Nigeria and the highest mountain in West Africa if Cameroon's mountains such as Mount Cameroon are excluded. This area of natural beauty has one of the best weather conditions in the country, which is cool and always accommodating all year round. Daytime temperature hardly exceeds 25 degrees Celsius on Mambila Plateau. The driest months are from December to January, with relative humidity dropping to about 15%, while the wet season usually starts from August. The Mambila Plateau is also free of mosquitoes and tsetse flies. Tourism-wise, apart from the beautiful terrain that is pleasing to view, the plateau has enormous sites of tourism significance. There are numerous waterfalls which include the Ju waterfalls at Bamga, the Vakude waterfalls, Tamla Fiala waterfalls and the Ngoroje waterfalls among many others. Some of the other tourist locations in Mambila Plateau include some historic sites, among which are the famous cave in Mbamga and Ndumiyaji Cave. There is the rock with a giant footprint of an ancient warrior at Kabri, the rock with a horse footprint, and the historic rock of the Mbar people that looks like a woman and her daughter. Economically, treasures abound on the Mambila Plateau. The plateau is richly blessed with fertile land and various economic crops grow well there. The crops include bananas, where you have numerous banana plantations, plantain, pineapple, coconut trees, pears, coffee arabica, cocoa, and lots of other fruits, as well as numerous food crops such as maize, which can be harvested twice in a rainy season, among many others. The most developed economic plant on the Mambila Plateau is tea. The widespread production of tea leaves from over 6,000 farms and processed into packaged tea is the reason for Nigeria's listing among tea-producing nations in the world. The lengthy rainy season and the fertile land, which favor the growth of fresh grasses, make the Mambila Plateau an ideal place for livestock like cows, goats, and sheep to thrive, with the cattle on the plateau being unique species and bigger in size than majority of cattle that live outside the plateau. What else do you aspire to enjoy in terms of enjoyable weather condition and beautiful environment for sightseeing as a tourist that the Mambila Plateau does not provide, in addition to numerous economic potentials? The people of the plateau are also among the most accommodating set of people you can ever meet. So, include the Mambila Plateau on your list of places to visit. Make the move and enjoy the pleasure of visiting one of the most beautiful places in Africa.
Welcome back from the Mambila Plateau. It's now time for us to go to Cameroon to learn all about the tohu fabric. Now, this particular African fabric has a very rich history and vibrant cultural significance, all the way from Cameroon. Take a look. Term has been used a whole lot, but what do you think when you hear youth empowerment?
Yeah, so thank you very much, and good evening once again, our viewers. So when we talk about youth empowerment, basically what comes into mind is equipping the young people with skills, resources, and even knowledge that will help them to make decisions and then keep the ground running in terms of making them active, and then influencing a positive change into their own personal life and then the society where they actually live. Yeah.
Okay, so it's looking like it's something that will benefit the young people directly.
Yeah.
So what's the significance of this for the continent? Or for the country where they are?
Yeah, so basically if you look at the significant, most important thing is to look at economic growth and viability.
Right.
Yeah, so you talk about how they contribute basically to sustainable development goals. You look at how they contribute to the GDP, right? So, and then reduce unemployment rate, because this youth, if they have the right skills, the mindset, and then the resources for them to impact positively in the nation, then it will go a long way in actually impacting or even bringing about economic growth, sustainable development, and even economic viability.
Awesome.
So these are important aspects to look on.
All right, that's great. Now, I know that you're more into the agricultural space, but I mean, as a young person in Nigeria yourself, I'd like to ask, what policies and support systems you think that African youth really need for them to be able to contribute effectively to sustainable development? Policies, support, what exactly do you think they need?
Yeah, I think one very important policies or support we should look at is things that has to do with access to education. Access to education in the sense of quality education. Either you look at free education or subsidized education, whereby these youths are able to get adequate or resources in terms of knowledge, and then training opportunities that will prepare them for the future or the challenges ahead. Looking at agriculture today, and then looking at even when we talk about sustainability, you need to like invest in skill sets and then the mindsets of the youths. This will go a long way in shaping their perspective towards more sustainable development goals, right? So this is something important to look into. Then another thing is talking about innovations and then creativity, right? Some of these youths actually have the potential to grow, but because of inadequate resources, right, that is available for them to harness or to tap into. Now, some of these policy reforms that will have to do with youth inclusivity and in program designs, right? This is to look at some of these program designs. You tailor your innovations to address the needs of the youth, and then to be able to, so that they can contribute their own quota in terms of also sustainable development. So this is also often important. And you also look at partnerships and collaborations. So you should be able to look at policy reforms like the public-private partnerships. These give opportunity for funders or in program designs whereby fund is being tailored towards also some programs or initiatives that will actually empower the youths and then address some of the needs of the youth in the society and lead to economic growth and empowerment at the end.
Archer, welcome back. I have with me in the studio Honorable Shehu Atta, Senior Special Assistant to the Kogi State Governor on Youth Affairs. Welcome to Lens Africa.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pleasure.
All right. Before you came on board, we have been having a brief conversation on youth empowerment and sustainable development. So I'd like for you to jump right in. I mean, this is your forte. So he just finished talking about policies and support systems that we think the youth of Nigeria in particular and Africa in general would need to be able to contribute effectively to sustainable development. Would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, interesting. You know, when you mention policies,
Yes, please.
you know, policies are those you establish to make your program sustainable. So if you are the legislature, or you are the governor, or you are the president, and will have good policies that can be executed, you know, channels towards the affairs of the youth. Because the other time we talked about, if you remember, not too young to run.
Yes.
Even though we don't even need that bell to say not too young to run, youth should participate. All youth should participate, because if you see any society, the youth are the bulwark, like they are the major part of the society. They are the engine room of the society. So if you don't have the youth on board to drive your policies, you can't achieve. So the youth, for any country that wants to develop, should empower, educate the youth. The youth are the critical stakeholder in any society.
So you mentioned education, very key.
Of course, very key, very key, very key. That is goal number 4. Very, very important.
Okay.
So in Nigeria, for us to solve our problems, the problem of banditry, the problem of unemployment, the problem of underemployment, if we must do all this, we should empower and educate the youth. So if you see the current federal government policy, you know, Ministry of Education, we're talking about DOTS policy, that the government now, Ashiwaji government has taken a new direction entirely. He wants to overhaul the educational system. That's why you see the NAFON, the Ministry of Education, they are going in the same direction. At the end of the day, within the next 4 years, you can begin to see drastic changes in our educational sector. So it's critical.
That's great.
Thank you.
Now, talking about all these initiatives, policy reforms, there's a group of people or groups of people who sometimes are left out. I'm talking about those who are either underrepresented, those who are marginalized, those who are left out, maybe because of physical disabilities and things like that. How can we make these policies and these reforms inclusive? I'll have you go first, and then he can share his thoughts.
Yeah, you know, representation is very key.
Right.
For every segment of the society, whether the disabled, whether the orphan, whether they're out of school, you know, everybody has to be represented. So the government should make deliberate efforts to see that in all these groups, disabled groups, you know, orphans, you know, out of school children, government should be seen as making deliberate effort to ensure that there is inclusiveness in bringing people on board, and you know, making the cost of education, you know, very democratizing education for everybody in the society.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have your thoughts, sir. Talking about ensuring that these empowerment initiatives are all inclusive.
Yeah. So I think one very important thing to look at or to think is to conduct a mapping. Right, you conduct a comprehensive mapping of the landscape, so that you understand the needs. You do a need assessment to understand the needs of the underrepresented groups or even the marginalized groups. This will now give the opportunity to tailor innovations or tailor resources, channeling or addressing the needs of the youth or the groups that are marginalized or underrepresented. Then also you can put in place a monitoring and a feedback mechanism. This will give the opportunity for constant impact evaluation to showcase if those the programs that we have that is tailored towards youth empowerment, if they are making
instant goal number 1, end poverty. Could the question of poverty, we should take the question of education very seriously.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's have your thoughts. I mean, you're from the agricultural space. How do you think there's any way that the youth using agriculture can contribute to sustainable development?
Yeah, so using agriculture, basically the youth can contribute to sustainable development and even stop the menace of unemployment, right? look at what we refer to as sustainable agriculture, whereby the youth can be involved in all the various stages of the agricultural value chain, from production to processing up to the end users. Now, by so doing, you will see that they are able to contribute their quota towards sustainable development. You look at sustainable agri-practices, agripreneurship, agri-businesses. You look at even value addition from farm to fork, where you are able to utilize some of the resources you get and then make some value addition. And at the end of the day, this will lead to increased revenue generation or household income. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we've mentioned skill sets a lot of times. Talking about agriculture, we know that it's not just something a person wishes and just jumps into it.
But to be honest, it cannot be overemphasized. Right. You cannot actually venture and then succeed in agriculture if you don't have the technical background and then the technical skills. Some of the skills are acquired in school, while some of them you can actually learn them as a skill at the end of the day, even outside school. So training and then retraining, right? Apart from the skills you get, we also need to even invest in the mindset. This will lead to a paradigm shift for us to actually understand that agriculture is a business. So by so doing, we need to also invest in some business management skills, like financial literacy, right, business planning, and then farm record keeping. This will go a long way in actually making the youth prepared for the challenges ahead in terms of agriculture or innovations in agriculture. Apart from this also, you know, there's something known as technical and then vocational education and training. This is mostly like out of school, you know, that you learn skills, you learn trades, right? We can also leverage on some of this technology, right? AI in the 21st century, you know, you cannot do away with artificial intelligence. There are a lot of applications or a lot of digital platforms whereby you can take training courses, right, on agribusinesses, agripreneurship, right? So technology and innovation is also very important as part of the skill set that is required to succeed in the agricultural landscape in Nigeria or in Africa as a whole. So these are some of the skill sets that are needed. Access to resources or access to finance, right? This is very important. Access to finance, basically, you look at it under financial literacy, you look at financial inclusion, right? So if you have those skill sets that is able to give you financial planning methodologies, right? And then you are able to invest into those things. At the end of the day, it could actually bring a platform whereby you can even have access to finance to incubate your business in the agri-space, right? Either from the government, from the private institutions, and even international organizations that are willing to support young entrepreneurs that are venturing into agriculture in the 21st century.
All right. Now let's talk about Sahel Consulting, Agricultural and Nutrition Organization, right? How exactly is Sahel empowering young people, especially in the area of agriculture?
Very important. You know, our mission, basically, part of our mission statement is to actually transform agriculture and nutrition landscape in Africa through tailored innovation and market business research, and then shaping the ecosystem through ecosystem solutions, impacting communities, and then attaining sustainable growth. Right? This is part of the mission of Sahel Consulting. So we implement programs, and then one of the very important programs we implement today in Nigeria is ALDIN program. We call it the Advancing Local Dairy Development in Nigeria program. This is a 5-year program that started in 2020, and we are still running through the program. We implement this program in 7 states in Nigeria, including Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Plateau, Adamawa, and then Taraba states in Nigeria. So what we do basically is to catalyze a vibrant dairy sector in an inclusive manner that empowers even youth, women, and people within this landscape. All right, we give them some form of interventions. Say, for example, in terms of financial inclusion, where we are able to open bank accounts for some of these youths, right, and then link them up to dairy processors. We have a ready market, right? They are into dairy business, and then milk, where they actually supply milk to the processor partners that are able to process these milk into milk products such as yogurts. So some of the intervention also we give them is animal health intervention for their cows that produce milk, right? And also access to quality feed all year round through feed and fodder, and even genetic improvement of their cows.
Wow, that's
This will lead to empowerment and then even more household income generation and diversify income even for their farmers that we work with. Greater percentage of these farmers are also youth. So it means that we are touching the lives of the youth through our program intervention. Another very important program which we do is the Science Scholar Program. This Science Scholars Program, over the years, we've reached up to 6,000 students in various faculties of agriculture across the country. We have also provided internship and mentorship opportunities. Currently, we have touched up to like 18 scholars. We have 18 scholars, which 16 of them have been provided with scholarship opportunities to help them cater for some part of their education, actually.
Because of time, I really would wish that you'd go on and on and on, but I'm sure that the young people will go and search out Sahel Consulting themselves. I would like to wrap up this segment with you, asking you what kind of effective strategies can we put in place where young people are part of decision making, and not just being part, their voices are actually heard and their impact is felt. Just in closing, if you could.
Thank you so much. You know, we can't really impact the young people if we don't bring them on board.
Bring them on board, okay.
Because in the countries, in Nigeria today, the population of the country, they say the young people make the highest percentage of our population. So what it means is that if we are the highest percentage in terms of population, and you are not carrying us along, that means you are actually leaving your population, the people that will make the impact, you are not bringing them on the table. So for inclusivity, government has to put in place effective policies that will make it mandatory that for everything we want to do going forward into our future, young people should be on board, because they form the energy that will drive the process.
Fantastic. Young people do have the energy, and they should be on board to have us drive the process of change and sustainable development that we want to see in our country. I've been speaking with Honorable Shehu Atta, Senior Special Assistant to Kogi State Governor on Youth Affairs. Thank you very much for your time. I've also had Dr. Ibrahim Yusuf, consultant with Sahel Consulting, Agriculture and Nutrition Limited. Thank you for your time as well.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to you too for being a part of this interview segment. Up next is Kingdoms and Chiefdoms, and the Wadai Kingdom is up next. Don't go away.
Began minting his own coinage and imported chainmail, mockers, and military advisors from North Africa, along with using the wealth generated from the trade of exotic animals like giraffes, lions, antelopes, and camels, and elephant's ivory to fill the state treasury. Many kingdoms were either conquered or forced to become tributaries, giving horses for the cavalry and trade, servants for the collect, along with slaves. Sabon's successors were less able than him, and therefore took advantage of a disputed political succession in 1838 to put its own candidate in power in Aura, the capital of Wadai. This tactic backfired, especially when Darfur's choice Muhammad Sharif, rejected Darfour's meddling and asserted his own authority. In doing so, he gained acceptance from Wadai's various factions and went on to become Wadai's ablest ruler. Sharif conducted military campaigns as far west as Borno and eventually established Wadai's hegemony over the Bagirmi Sultanate and other kingdoms as far away as the Chawi River. Sharif ruled between 1835 and 1858. He introduced the Sanusiya Islamic Brotherhood to the region, having met the founder of the Sanusiya Islamic Brotherhood, Muhammad ibn Ali as-Sanusi, in Mecca previously. His movement
The Nigerian music scene once again mourns amidst sibling rivalry and so much more in entertainment. Up next.
On the entertainment scene, in a tragic turn of events, the gospel music community is mourning the loss of renowned singer Aduke Ajayi, popularly known as Aduke Gold. She passed away at the University College Hospital, UCH. Initially, rumors suggested that Aduke Gold had died during fibroid surgery. However, her family has debunked these claims, clarifying that the singer succumbed to cervical cancer. May her soul rest in perfect peace. In other news,